Are you a mother looking to biohack your workouts? Are you anxious because every time you step foot in the gym, it feels like all eyes are on you?
What are you wearing then?
Don't shame me. Are you a young lad looking to pack on pounds and pounds of muscle? If any of this resonates with you, give us a follow or subscribe. Welcome to The Fence with your hosts, Mitch and Gar. Our goals as your hosts is to help give a leg up to first-time exercisers or those that want to get into strength training. The topics we cover could help you get into your dream body, could help you with fat loss, or give those of you already in the gym a little more direction. Let us help you get off the fence and into the body you deserve. Gar, how's it going, man?
Everything being great, and I'm really excited that you brought such a nice guest to us today.
Yes, so everybody welcome Alexa.
Hi.
How you doing, Alexa?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Thrilled to have you here. So we brought Alexa on because she has a couple of really unique skill sets and knowledge bases. But before we dive into all of that, talk about yourself for a minute. Introduce yourself. Help the audience, listeners, as well as us get to know you a little better.
Okay.
So what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. You came from a fashion background, right?
Yeah.
And then you got into, some sort of fitness career. So what sparked that change?
Yeah. A lot of things. So I was always interested in fashion and the arts growing up. But I also grew up with my dad always saying, if you don't have your health, you don't have shit. And he was a personal trainer, actually, in his 30s.
I don't think you ever told me that.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I remember him teaching me how to do push-ups, leg lowers at a young age, and always kind of like had that in my background, but went on to pursue fashion in college and ended up getting my first job in fashion in New York City. And yeah, my favorite part of the day was always going to the gym.
So what kind of a degree do you need to get into fashion?
Right. So I took like the broadest major at Parsons, the new school for design, and it was called integrated design.
Okay.
And it was like unconventional fashion. So a lot of stuff about like sustainable fashion and like deconstructing and reconstructing clothing.
So you were like, I don't know what spectrum to call it, but there's just like a certain flair of you that defies the norm, if you will. Every like passion, every which we'll talk about. A lot of your specialties are so different from like standard, personal training. And apparently that went back even as far as fashion. After the episode, maybe you can give Gar a little help with his fashion sense.
I mean, I definitely have. I've been sitting and thinking quite like, you know what? I get an idea. We're gonna make a next boom, like a Gymshark gonna go down.
Yes. Yeah.
Unconventional.
Call it, I
gym
don't know.
clothing.
Resharkle.
Resharkle.
I think it's really cool, actually, before you do, that your dad got you into it at such a young age.
Yeah.
That's so important, and parents set a role model and set their kids up for, a potentially healthy, successful life by doing it at a young age.
Even though I didn't always love it, like he made us go on the swim team for 7 years and I hated that. But then later on I ended up doing triathlon training and I was so grateful that I did know how to swim to do those things. Oh. Anyways, okay, so I'm in the fashion world, graduated college in New York City, this one women's wear clothing company for like 3 years, and then got a job with this crazy photographer who was really big in the 90s.
Why he was crazy, though? I apologize.
It's a good question. It's a great question.
He was crazy abusive. Verbally, just like so mean. He would tell me I didn't know how to use my brain, that I didn't know how to think. He called me a stupid.
Does this guy have like drug problems or alcohol problems?
No.
It's like a multiple personalities or something.
Yeah. It also sounds like a terrible boss. Did he have other employees?
Yeah, it was a team of 6 people. For the whole year, I was in pain. Like I had sciatica issues, SI joint dysfunction going on, but I never dealt with it because I was thinking like, oh, I don't have time to take care of myself. My soul like disappeared. Fast forward a year working for him, COVID hits.
You made it a year?
I stayed a year.
It's just like the New York dream, you know what I mean?
It's
You
a
put
real
up with the
soldier
toxic
right
boss,
there.
you bust your balls, hoping to get it, you know, a big raise and make it big, and then you're just like trying to see it through.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I'm tough. I can do this. Let me stay with it. I fast forward a year, COVID hits. New York is shutting down. He sends us all home to go work from home. Yeah, I'm working from home and just like so depressed, but not even aware of it. I was going on my parents' Peloton a lot. And I was like, oh my God, like these people like have jobs at Peloton.
Some of those guys are pretty cool. Cody Rigsby,
Yeah.
love him.
And I was like, oh my God, that would be so cool. So then I Googled how to become a fitness coach. And NASM, these came up and I was like looking into them and was like, oh my God, this is it. Like I need to do this. Like I've always loved fitness, was like doing like triathlon training at the time, even though I was walking around with a limp.
From the sciatica?
Yeah. Started to study at NASM and was still working for my crazy boss. He was like going to move during COVID and had it in my head like, okay, I'm going to study for my personal training certification. I'm going to help him with his move and then I'm going to quit. And that's what I did. And as soon as I quit, I feel like I like lit up inside and just like felt like my soul like came back into me and I was like free again.
That's not to be taken lightly though, because there's no guarantee of any income, you know, starting out as a personal trainer and then going from that. But the fact that like you were able to make that trade-off and not even feel bad because you felt like yourself again, it's crazy.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I quit and I like started losing weight and just like could laugh again. Like studying for NASM, take the test, pass it. Had some family friends who were interested in training, so I just like started doing it with them, like going to their house and at my parents' house. And then I applied for my first personal training job at Cornerstone Clubs in New Hope. And that was awesome. Everyone was so nice there. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot what it was like to work with nice people.
Your father helped you out a lot too with like giving you more like proper directions where to go, what to do, or like because he has a big experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, he used to go to people's houses with
really?
his best friend.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
How did you not tell me any
I
of
don't
this?
know.
This is crazy. What does he do now?
He's a financial advisor now, and he works with athletes who are newly drafted
Wow, cool.
on helping them.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a transition of careers.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you do outside of work? Tell us your top 3 hobbies.
I love to dance.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Like put on a vinyl and just dance in my house or going out to dance.
Our dances as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Salsa and bachata, do you know how to do that?
Oh, yeah. I always loved photography. Haven't been inspired to take many photos now, but I always carry a disposable camera around with me, so that way I have to get them developed.
We need a third, Alexa. Third pastime, passion, hobby.
Third is cooking.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which has been kind of new. Like when I lived in New York, I never had groceries. It was just like alcohol and orange Milano cookies.
You just recently got a house with your
Yeah.
boyfriend, and has that kind of like re-inspired and allowed you to experiment and cook like a lot more?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like our favorite activity.
Our kitchen's so small. When me and my wife try to cook, we're bumping elbows, and one of us at some point is always like, "Get out! I'm gonna finish it."
I feel like the saying "there's only one cook in the kitchen," like it's kind of true sometimes.
This is your show now. Lead the way.
So yeah, I wanted to start talking about diet. Part of the program that I'm in now, I go to the Czech Academy, it was founded by this guy named Paul Czech. And he's been in the health and fitness industry for over 40 years. He's in his 60s as well. He has this holistic health school, and he teaches this principle of the 4 doctors. He took it from Hippocrates, who had the 3 doctors, which were Dr. Happy, Dr. Diet, and Dr. Quiet. And then Paul Czech added in Dr. Movement, because back then people just naturally were more active, and now we need to add in the movement for them. His Dr. Diet, the nutrition part, that has really stuck with me out of every single diet that I have done, and I have tried a lot of different diets. And
Name 5
ways
diets
of
you've tried off
eating.
the top of your head.
juicing, vegetarian, vegan, just like not eating enough, like granola diet. And like eating out all the time.
But she's kind of a biohacker. She likes to try different things to see what works best for her own body. And honestly, we all could stand to learn something from that.
Few things that I believe in are eating organic. So getting more nutrients from good quality food. The diet that Paul Chek had invented, it's called the Primal pattern diet.
Tell us more about that.
3 types of people.
Okay.
And then depending on who you are, there's like a questionnaire that you could fill out. There's a more intensive one in the book, the metabolic type dieting book. Mm-hmm. And then there's a condensed version in Paul Chek's How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. Then that'll tell you what diet you should follow. And these are the 3 diets.
Great.
So first one is the polar type, which is for someone from more North America where there's a winter. So there's not always readily available fruits and vegetables. And you're eating more protein and healthy fats. So that sounds like you, Gar.
Pretty much.
Yeah, me too. So he calls them eyes foods. So you're eating a bigger portion of eyes foods, and that's basically something that comes from an animal or was an animal. So on your plate, you have a bigger portion of protein, healthy fats, and then a smaller portion of carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. Second type is the equatorial type. And this is someone who comes from warmer areas in the world, South America. There's not as much meat that's available. So they're eating more plants and vegetables. And their plate, it's going to be a bigger portion of no eyes foods.
Wow.
So something that doesn't come from an animal.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, like the opposite of what you're doing.
Try to
Crying
hold my tears
inside.
in.
Yeah, but mostly because of just what was available. This guy, Weston A. Price, he travels all over the world studying tribes. And basically, the tribes were really healthy because they were just eating the food that they had available to them. And then when like processed foods started to be introduced into those areas, they were like having teeth issues, health issues. So it's like, it depends on what kind of climate you are, where you're from, and like external stresses too that could be contributing. So type 3 is the mixed type or variable type, and that's someone in the middle. So your plate is going to be 50-50, half protein, healthy fats, half carbohydrates. And this person, they say, is like the easiest to feed but the hardest to train because they have to really like listen to their body as their type could change throughout the day, like meal to meal, day to day, month to month. Like one meal, say they're like doing a heavy training day, so they're maybe going to want more of the protein and be more polar type. And then the next day, say they have their rest day, they might be more the equatorial type where they're eating more fruits and vegetables. Before, I would just eat a lot of fruits and vegetables all the time and felt like, oh, I'm so healthy. But then I started eating this way as a polar type, eating more protein, healthy fats, all organic, eating butter, steaks for breakfast, lost weight, felt more muscular looking. Like, whoa, this is crazy. You really are what you eat. Also, cutting out gluten and dairy has been huge for me. So they're the 2 biggest irritants. And gluten, like breads, pasta, cereal, it's changed from 40 years ago. Like it's different than when our grandmothers were cooking pasta every Sunday.
And we're talking from like food processing?
Yeah, like it's just genetically modified now, and it's causing a lot of health issues for people.
And the shocking part is, if you will go to Europe and eat gluten,
It's
you
great.
don't have a problem.
No,
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Come back here, disaster.
They
Yeah.
have different laws and regulations for that stuff, right? As far as like what they have to disclose on the back of packages or food you're getting.
Yeah.
And I have to apologize. And under certain doses, you don't even need to write.
Yeah, well, that
something.
you will
So here-
correct, and that's how a
yeah.
lot of stuff gets kind of under the table and undetectable unless you know your stuff.
It's crazy. They spray chemicals on our foods, and those people are wearing like hazmat suits. if it were so safe for us to eat, then they should be able to spray it without that stuff on.
I heard a recent train of thought, and I thought it was intriguing. I want to hear both of your thoughts on this. So I think the person's argument was, against veganism. I guess specifically probably towards like animal rights activists. The train of thought was meat is bad. Killing animals and eating it is bad. The amount of animals, bugs, insects, all kinds of animals that live naturally in that habitat have to be killed off by pesticides and different things, because organic fruit, there's nothing protecting it. Organic fruit, vegetables, there's nothing protecting it. So percentage of animals that are killed for vegans was higher than not.
That is interesting.
I was watching one chef, okay, and he was like, check this out. So he tried to wash apple, just a regular water. Then he moves that apple into the water with baking soda.
So I did a fungal cleanse a year ago, and still am kind of living with those same principles. So it's cutting out gluten and dairy, and then nuts, seeds, and grains. So what does that leave left to eat? Healthy protein and fats. Grass-fed, grass-finished. This is why carnivore and eating meat gets such a bad rap too.
A lot of them are just sitting on a bunch of supplements.
We shouldn't have to supplement. We should be able to get it from our food. That's the first medicine.
Yeah, thousands of years ago, we didn't have any freaking glutamine or something like amino acids and stuff.
Definitely.
Are you saying you don't use supplements, Gar?
Nope. Sometimes I need to drink
Supplementally, though. Supplementally.
Cows, they're meant to eat grass.
Yeah.
And now they're fed sawdust, cement, Skittles, just crap. The food, the FDA wants to make the animals fatter so they can sell more meat, and they are going to make more money, right? It's all about money.
Sure. Cows have 5 stomachs.
Yes, they do.
5 or 4?
5.
Damn.
Yes. And that's why they can digest grass so well and get protein out of it, which is so cool. And that's why cows should be grass-fed and not humans, because we don't have 5 stomachs to get the protein that we need out of it. So conventional meat, the cow was sick, fat, and not feeling so good, right? And then we eat it, and you are what you eat. So then you're getting whatever that cow was going through. If it was sick, that's going to end up in you as well. So it's important to have good quality, grass-fed, grass-finished. The animals had a good life. They were free roaming. They ate the diet that they were supposed to eat, just like we're supposed to follow the diet that we're meant to follow based off of our ancestors.
When they villainized the meat, one of the reasons was it's in those researches, they were taking everyone and they counted the meat in McDonald's, in the Burger King.
Right.
Yeah, that comes with the patties and those genetically modified fries and stuff. They culinarize that.
I think McDonald's, they used to use beef fat to make the fries, and then it got too expensive, so they started using the hydrogenated oils. Beef tallow, it's one of my favorite things to make.
That's how I cook. Yeah, that's how I cook tallow, with the tallow or butter.
Yes.
Like organic butter.
Yeah.
So sacral iliac joint dysfunction.
Yes.
What does that mean, Alexa?
Well, it took me a long time to figure out what that meant as well, because it was so confusing to me. I was in for 2 years figuring this out. The 1 year I just didn't take care of myself because I was worried about my boss. Finally, I'm here working from home, so I was like, okay, maybe I can go see a physical therapist now to try to help myself. I get to the physical therapist. I was my sacral iliac was out of alignment. That was causing back pain, and then it was also so out of whack that it was causing sciatic nerve pain down my leg into my knee all the way down to my foot. So it took a year of physical therapy to get it normal. And then it's always kind of this ongoing thing that I had to deal with after that. So he was giving me exercises to strengthen my core, base conditioning, stabilizer exercises, crunches over a Swiss ball, single leg hip hikes, a plank, a side plank, a cobra on a ball,
Okay.
stuff like that. And a physical therapist isn't a nutritionist either. He's just thinking like, okay, your hip just keeps sliding out, so I'm just gonna like adjust you, give you some stim, and then go do these exercises and keep coming back to me until it stays in. I felt like, oh, I really need to figure this out. Right, so your hips, they're not attached, they're attached in at the sacrum. So I have one hip that's anterior tilted and one posterior tilted. So if the one just goes forward more, then it would come out of alignment.
It's like high intensity all
And
bounce
high
too. It's like you can focus
intensity.
in and make sure you're not shifting.
And I'm like talking into a head mic
Yeah.
and like doing dumbbell stuff and dancing on and off a step. I felt like
at the same time.
Yeah.
because-
I'm in so much pain.
Oh my gosh. So when that happened, just real quick, did you just have to like grit your teeth and finish the class?
Well, yeah, I was actually doing a body art trial class for a gym, like trying to get them to have
Oh
the
my
class
gosh.
there, and this happened. And yeah, I just kept going through, and that definitely made it worse.
You get the job.
Yes.
There you go.
Ka-chow.
So how did you make that go away? How did you strengthen that area?
I ended up working with a master level Czech practitioner who has graduated from 5 years of schooling under the Czech Institute. He was in California, so we were working together over Zoom and over a physical thing. So I was kind of like, how is he going to help me, like, from California? But I was just like, I need to try something different. Like, this isn't working. Like, I can't keep on having to go to the physical therapist, like, every other month.
I'm sure you were skeptical, but you were kind of at your wit's end at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I just
actually-
wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
Every other month, it's not that bad. I thought you were like, almost every week or every 2 weeks.
Yeah. I know. I feel like a lot of people have this too.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
there are, I've seen.
I have a client. She's going to love this segment. I told her about it today.
Awesome.
She was like, whoa, I can't wait to listen.
I know. I thought it was only me too.
No,
and
it's
then
not,
I
yeah.
would be in the physical therapist office and I overheard some other woman saying, oh, my sacral iliac's out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I started working with this holistic health coach from the Czech Institute. And he told me to identify my dream. What do I want in life? He told me to stop working out. And he had me do the antifungal diet. So that was cutting out gluten, dairy, nuts, seeds, and grains, and eating for my primal pattern diet type. So that was the polar type. So eating more proteins, healthy fats, which was like the opposite of what I was doing. So he was like, yeah, I want you to start eating like beef tallow fries for breakfast
Wow.
and a burger,
Sounds
but
great.
without the bun. And I was so skeptical, like, what? Like, he wants me to stop working out and then, like, start eating, like, meat all the time? Like, I was like, I feel like I'm going to, like, gain weight. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, how can this be? But I just did it because...
Not gonna lie, I'm still heartbroken from hearing that, stop exercising. I'm like, no.
For the
I
bicep?
cannot. I'm still doing left side and legs.
Yeah.
So
It's good to take a break once in a while. There's other things you could do.
I did 1 week.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, it was just like a vicious cycle. He wanted me to stop working out and wanted me to do working in exercises. So that was more like Tai Chi, gentle yoga, and just like keep my heart rate down and not go for that like high intensity because it was like an escape almost. Exercise at some points in my
Running
life.
definitely is not the greatest
No.
decision, especially I know so many ex-marathon runners with surgeries, hip replacements and stuff. So yeah, I was like, okay, this type of training, yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, and then starting a meditation practice. He had me do 20 minutes of standing silent meditation for 100 days in a row. And it's called like completing a gong. So that was also my homework. But the diet was the main part of it. And basically, I changed my diet. I listened to what he said, stopped working out, and I just felt like transformed. It was like, oh my God, like I feel like I can like feel like myself in my body. Like I just felt like so alive and more like myself than I ever had.
And the iliac joint problems went away?
For the most part,
Okay.
yeah. So it was like a year of doing this. I mean, now it's been over a year of eating this same kind of way. Now I have nuts and seeds and
Okay.
grains, but reintroducing them slowly. Still not doing gluten, still not doing dairy, and then eating all organic, following my Primal pattern diet. So protein, more fats. But basically, what would happen would be is, so anything that's not a protein or a fat, it digests as a sugar.
True.
So I was eating more vegetables, carbohydrates, thinking I was healthy.
Depends, actually. Protein can digest as a sugar too. Gluconeogenesis, you know. That's why keto people are trying to keep it on a minimum.
Yeah, right. If you have like a
Yeah.
larger portion.
Please continue. I was just like dropped it a little.
Yeah. My core was inflamed, like it was inhibited by sugars and inflammation. And so when your core is inflamed by inflammation, sugar, then you can't fire your core up properly during your exercise. So I would be doing my exercise and I would slide out, and then the next day or later that day would be like, oh God, I must have did something when I was exercising. But really, it was more my diet that was triggering this to happen.
Super interesting.
I know. I was like, what the heck? Like, it's all connected. So then I was skeptical at first, and I was like, I don't know. So then I would test it, and I would like have gluten and dairy, and then like be doing my Tai Chi, and I would feel my back just like start to like have like a little ache. Not as like excruciating though as it had been, where I'd be like out for a week, but I would feel it like start to just be out, and I knew I was out of alignment. So then I would go to the physical therapist. He would put me back in, and then it'd be like one session, I'd be fine. Like since I was eating cleaner, it wasn't as painful.
Now, are we talking you wanted to test it out, which I support, and I applaud you for doing it too, because it's kind of scary, right? Like, but so you're saying you would have like dairy and gluten just like one day, and then you'd notice like a difference kind of right away?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Because I would be like, well, first I would be like, oh my God, how am I never going to have like
Jeez.
pasta or pizza again? So I like went to this breakfast place, got these ricotta pancakes, and yeah, like next day, like my back is feeling off. And
Well, at
like,
least you did it the right way. Ricotta. That's the way to go.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, I tested it out a few times in disbelief, but almost every single time, like I would feel it in my back. So it's like, okay, if I just cut these things out, mostly just the gluten and dairy, I'm in alignment. And I have been, knock on wood. I mean, it's always like something that could happen.
Sure.
You know, like I don't think it's like going away, but it's like now I kind of get it and I could manage it more. And it was interesting because I had brought it up to my physical therapist. I was like, hey, I cut out gluten and dairy, and like I feel so much better now. I think I had went to him after I had like an Italian dinner, and I went out because I had my Italian dinner and then did some exercises on the beach, and I was out, and then went to the physical therapist, was telling him, oh, I cut out gluten and dairy, but I just had gluten yesterday for the first time in like forever. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense because, you know, like sugars are going to like inhibit your core. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that like 3 years ago when I first started coming to you?
So I was going to ask, was he intrigued and curious, or was he trying to explain it away, you know?
Yeah.
Act like he knew the whole time, or maybe he did, but he didn't share it with you.
Exactly. It felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like, oh, of course.
Do you see a different one now?
I don't see anyone now.
Okay.
And I told my boyfriend what to do. Like if I ever do
Oh,
come
cool.
out, how to like give me a little adjustment.
Does he know how to do it?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
I had to demonstrate on him a few times, and I'm like, yelling at
Poor
him
child.
while he's doing
Did he make you sign a liability waiver yet?
it.
Got to get on that, man.
Yeah.
I would make a bad joke, but
We trust your judgment, Gar.
There's something else to be mindful of, which I learned actually from my physical therapist, is that as a woman, our hormones change through our menstrual cycle. So when we're going to get our period, our hips expand, and there's this hormone called relaxin, which actually can make our joints more relaxed and likely to slide out. So if your gut's inflamed and you're doing some crazy exercises and you're on your period, boom, you're going out. So it's like you just have to be mindful of all these things, like the diet, the exercise, where you are in your cycle. You're more likely to slide out then.
Now, does it only apply to sacral iliac issues, or could that be applied in many other areas?
Yeah, it could definitely be applied to other areas.
Like strength training in general, or I'm just curious if you have any other, specific areas that would be great for, or just, women training in general should try to kind of have some sort of idea where they are during their cycle, so that they know what style of training maybe they should be doing.
Yeah, this is something new I'm learning about, but there's definitely a benefit to being more aware of where you are in your cycle, because I always just was training intense, like all the time, no matter where I was, just going all out, lifting heavy.
Deload, sunshines, deload.
Yeah, no deloading ever. So I feel like I would hold on to water weight more and just was a bit inflamed. So as of recently, I'm taking a break from strength training and hypertrophy power training. And I'm just doing more body weight exercises and playing around with that. And I feel really good. I just want to learn more about how to apply exercise depending on where I am in my cycle, and maybe get into that again at some point. But yeah, so if you're in phase 1 of your cycle, when you start bleeding, definitely doing more lower weight, body weight exercises would be good. And then post that, definitely getting more into strength and endurance training. And then your testosterone starts to rise in phase 2. So even doing heavier powerlifting.
The SI barbell, right? It depends what your coach will write you, but every fifth week or even 6th week, you pretty much deload. As you said, you girls have a menstrual cycle once a month, so you can just or do a deload week or just pass it. You can do just pump action workout or just leave it.
Yeah.
1 week of chill.
1 week off, I feel
3 weeks is plenty.
In the middle of your cycle, phase 2 and 3, you could be doing more strength training, powerlifting. Phase 3 is interesting. Days 15 through 21. Your energy intake from your fat increases by 2%. Your body is going to take energy from fat stored in your body. This is good if you want to lose weight. Yeah, and then the last part of your cycle, this is the week leading up to getting your period again. Your hormones are at an all-time low, so definitely doing lower weight, a lot of repetitions, but taking it easier on how much you're lifting or just staying with body weight. In summary, on your period and the week leading up to your period, going a little bit lighter, and then in the middle, you can be doing more of your strength and endurance power stuff.
Oh, yeah. By the way, you can include a lot of tempo. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like a 4-second eccentric phase, super slow. You can train with super lightweight, so you will not really lose that week at all.
I think you named a couple of them, but are there any resources that people can use or reference for some of the stuff that we talked about today?
My favorite book ever, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. This is my Bible. You get it all. Lifestyle, nutrition, diet, meditation. There's questionnaires in there, which I use with my clients, so you could do them yourself. The Metabolic Type Diet, that's by William Wilcott. This has the more in-depth Primal Pattern Diet questionnaire. He also gives recipes. Then Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. This is a Weston A. Price book, where he travels around the world investigating and learning about different tribes and their diets. But yeah, the three kind of like all go together, studying the fact that it's good to eat how our ancestors ate, and then you're going to live a vital, healthy, happy life.
And what more can you ask for?
Right. That's the dream. Ripped at 50. Yeah. By Troy Casey. This was actually how I discovered Paul Chek. He talks about his story, and he had been in the fashion industry as a model.
Weird.
And quit drinking. And
Weird.
so I was like, oh, I want to read this book. And then he talked about studying with Paul Chek, and I was like, oh, who is this guy? He sounds so smart. And then that's how I started.
You guys kind of have like a
Yeah.
similar path there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not weird at all,
I was like,
right?
yeah.
The heck?
Then he quit drinking too. Then it hit me again.
She wrote the book under a surname.
Yeah.
It's an alias.
Undercover agent.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode with your hosts, Mitch and Gar, as well as Alexa. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and your opinion matters, okay? And to help us provide more value, we need you to submit any questions or topics that you would like us to cover. If we don't know it, then we will research it for you. You can do that by submitting an email at mitchellblack@gmail.com. And I'll say it again because I actually can't create one right now for the fence because apparently my phone number is associated with too many emails between all the businesses.
Oh, no.
Kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah. You can submit a topic request form, which is on our website. You can also shoot us a DM or comment on any of our posts.
I'm calling that most of the people going to comment it or DM it.
It's easier,
Easiest way
yeah.
to go,
Well,
yep.
yeah, but the topic request form is going to be very detailed, so you might want to do it there to stay up to date on all that we're up to or will be up to. You can check us out on Instagram at @thefence_podcast. You can also check us out on YouTube at The Fence Podcast, or listen anywhere that you listen to your podcasts, simply at The Fence. Hit that outro for me, dog.